Hey guys, Mike here. So about what a day yesterday and what a meltdown it was in the market. And Monday will be interesting because we are opening it in negative gamma territory, and so that's going to be interesting. I'll explain that more tomorrow. But again, they went down, grabbed more liquidity. I do know, I think a lot of people are going to be buying that dip. I'll explain that why. And so we'll go in there and really set up the week because we don't have a lot of data. And we're going to get into a lot of retail type of earnings, so this could definitely affect the market in the way they think things are going. There was some data that did come out on Friday that could have spooked the markets, and we'll talk about that as well. In this video, though, we did get a few questions from you guys. I'm going to answer. One's going to be talking about how to find liquidity when you're looking at the charts. There's many ways to do this. I'll tell you what I'm looking for. More importantly, we're talking about MSTR. Somebody asked about MSTR. Also asking about, is money really rotating into Chinese stocks? We'll talk about that, and I'll kind of show you, yes it is, but keep your head on straight when it comes to that. And lastly, somebody asked me like a father-to-father question, and I swear to God, I've literally thought about just starting a channel just for dads because I never had one. My dad died when I was 2. My stepfather treated me like crap, so I never really had that. And so I've literally, since I've become a dad, had to learn how to be a dad, right? And I try to get better. Not just every week, every day at it. I try to learn something new every day if I can. I'm always looking at videos. I always love getting together with our other fathers in the neighborhood because our kids hang out together and we're just talking and bouncing the problems off each other and like, what do you do on this? And it's amazing when you talk to other dads, like how you think alike. You're like, oh, I'm not the only one having this problem with my kid, or maybe I'm not the only one that can't figure this out or do this. And so yeah, I'll answer that question. It was a good question, and I definitely want to hear from the other dads and stuff. So, but I will start off with this right here. 2 charts I just want to look at. I've had them for a while now, and I just want to show you this. Like the reason why the market's like, look, man, CPI is maybe it's a problem, but here's the big deal. But here's the big deal. What do you want the Fed to do about this? I mean, just look at this. Using U.S. housing inflation, 99% of a mortgage payment is basically almost doubled, right? I mean, look at it. You know how much more expensive these payments are now. Look at the shelter CPI. Like, what do you want them to do? There truly is nothing they can do about this, unfortunately. And like I said, I don't understand how you fix without a recession. I'm not an expert in housing, but I've never figured out how are you going to fix this without a recession, right? Like people, I don't know. There's no other way around it. Again, it keeps just staying up there. In some areas it's worse. Some areas, the prices are coming down some, but yeah, there's nothing they can really do about that or insurance or, the fact that eggs are expensive because they killed a bunch of chickens because of bird flu, right? The other one is this right here. This is amazing. U.S. credit card debt versus U.S. personal savings. Look at the gap. Holy moly. That is insane. This is U.S. credit card debt versus personal savings. You can see back here, credit card debt was going up. It got worse. We're not even in a recession. It gets worse in recession because people had to spend the credit cards. They have no income, right? And so when you look at this, and then usually, but if you look going back to 2000, there's a point in time they've crossed. They crossed in 2011 where credit card debt was coming down, personal saving rate was going up, and then they crossed again right there in 2020 when the freaking personal savings went through the roof because everybody was at home and couldn't spend any money. But then look at that gap now. And so if we do hit a recession, credit card debt's going even higher. And so I don't see personal savings rate going up during a recession. So unless they start sending us more checks, but those charts just amaze me. I wanted to show them to you. But the first question is money actually rotating into Chinese stocks, or is it just a pop like when they announced QE measures a few months ago? Well, I'll show you this chart right here. Finally, you see it. It's called China's Terrific 10 versus the Mag 7, and they finally eclipsed the Mag 7. The Mag 7 had just been destroying their what they call Magnificent 10, which is like Alibaba, Tencent, all those. You see at the bottom what they are, right? And so the first time they finally did, but look at this run up. You see the Mag 7 stalled out. Look what Chinese stocks have been doing. And you saw, like David Tepper, all these billionaires, these fund managers. Yes, for these moves to be happening like this, not only is it probably American funds, you're talking about European funds, other countries also go ahead and buying in because like their PEs, their metrics got so low, okay? It was insane what their tech companies were doing. And it's not like they're hanging the moon on earnings, a lot of these guys. You saw not BYD, but Baidu, for example, plummet after earnings and stuff and take a big drop. But it's not like they're hanging the moon, but their financial measures got so low versus ours so high and overstretched, what a lot of people think. They're like, well, you'll get more bang for your buck. And so far they have. And China is pulling out all the stops. I mean, the Chinese president, he's meeting with all these other presidents around the country. He's meeting with CEOs, like whatever he can do. I think somebody may have finally got to him or something and said, hey, you know, you need to do something. So I think they realize they can't fix their housing market, so we got to do something. And so will it last? We'll find out. Okay, we'll find out. Again, America is still by a mile, I mean miles and miles, the largest stock market for sure, right? And the place to go. But, you know, right now, when they look at us and they're going, well, you know, America's sitting here with the highest 10-year yield they've had in a long time, highest Fed funds rate they've had in a long time, like, you know, 2 back-to-back, like the greatest years in the stock market. All this stuff is happening. We're doing tariffs, we're not going to do tariffs, like whatever. And so they're like, you just get, right now you get more bang for your buck, and they're right, and it's paying off so far. So we'll see if it continues there. So right now it's really Baba, and the others are looking fine. But yeah, I mean, we'll see if it continues. But yeah, it is real money going in. And don't forget, what helped drive us up, like I told you guys, we were the only game in town because China was destroyed. David Tepper and all of them left. All those fund managers pulled out, and they had to put that money somewhere, so it went into our stock market. And so now they're kind of going, okay, let's go back in there and see what we can do over here. So that's what's happening right now. Next one here says, hey Mike, can you teach us how to spot liquidity levels, and can you mention those levels in each of your videos, because I find quite helpful. I mean, if you look at what I'm doing here, this is what I do personally. Remember, a support level is not a line, it literally is a range. But what I go in here and look at, for example, HIMS. Okay, I showed you guys this. I do it right in front of you for a reason. I'll tell you a little secret about that too. Is, you know, I look at this thing and I'm looking for confluence, right? So I'm looking for a discount window, which is 0.5 fib or lower if you're coming down, right? And then I'm looking, especially a weekly fair value gap will be awesome, because I know these usually mitigate, and that's where they're going to pull you down to. And then if you can get a moving average on it or something else, that would be great. Support levels, all this fun stuff. But you can see, I mean, obviously HIMS had news about some medication or something for, you know, the guys or whatever. No shortage anymore, so boom, they popped this one down. And what's it come into right now? It's coming to the weekly fair value gap, almost mitigated completely, come down to a discount, right? And so that's just where it's at now. Is that going to be the final draw? We'll have to find out. You know, on SPY, you can see the same thing. You map out your daily fair value gaps, your weekly fair value gaps, the big ones, okay? And you just look at that and go, okay. And when you see it, you see that's a fair value gap. Where we come down into? Come down into that right there, okay? And it came down into a discount. I'm not going to pull the moving average up. It might be a moving average, might be a support line, but I'm looking for confluence, okay, when I do this. And you go across a chart, and I've showed this to members many times, and if we're going to get a pullback, that's usually where you'll start to see the liquidity get drawn from right there. Okay, I mean, again, there's a support level, whatever. Didn't come down and hit the support level exactly, but you mitigated the fair value gap, moved up. You know, you're seeing it yesterday, right? It's just piling through and being drawn to those fair value gaps. Don't mean it can't cut below it. Absolutely not. Once the market gets going, you know, that's just the way it is. Same thing if the fair value gap's above us, right? I'm saying, okay, we may pull up into here, mitigate this. It puts us in a premium. Now we're going to come down, right? And then when we look over here at, because Google has a lot of confluence coming up. And when you look at it, you got the 200 moving average, you have a weekly fair value gap, which is starting to mitigate. It's come down into it 3 different times now and bounced coming down, right? It's just dropped below its 100. So I'm not saying it's going to fully mitigate this. It doesn't have to. But again, it will be into some kind of support level, 200 moving average right there, mitigating a weekly fair value gap. If you go to the daily, it's actually just a complete gap, okay? So it'll be a gap fill, right? And so that's what I'm looking for when I'm looking at, okay, where are they going to try to draw liquidity here? That's what I'm looking for. Some people, what they'll do is, and it works, they'll pull up order blocks. And there actually is an indicator in here. I just don't use it. I actually have it to the left just to show people. And it's like a Lux Algo, order blocks, and breakers, right? And so they'll put this in here. And again, it'll show you where the order blocks and the breakers are and all that fun stuff. And they'll try to use this. I personally don't. I know a lot of people that do. And so it definitely pays off for them. I don't know. I don't bother with it. I think I tried it before or whatever. And I just find my way works for me. So I just keep doing what I'm doing. But you can use that as well to figure out where they're going to be going. Some people like to use the dart pool levels. I've showed you those before and how effective they are. You saw it on Thursday's video, you know, 607.50, I think it was like key right there. And then it became resistance on Friday when it started selling back down. And so again, that's how I do it, but there's many ways to go about trying to find liquidity. Let me know in the comments what you find to be helpful on that. Now, next one here says, is Mr. its own worst enemy? What are the catalysts that could take this stock higher? And it's simply Bitcoin, okay? If you look right here, look at the trend. It pops up and then it just trails off, right? If you go back to the prior cycle, pops up, then just trails off, Cycle before that, same thing. So they're almost identical, okay? Even though every cycle is different, okay? And they did kind of change their business model up and all that good stuff, and other people started adopting it. But the truth is, got to have Bitcoin move. That's just the way it is, and you can see it clearly. It was following perfectly there for a while, right? But when you come over here, and a lot of people just started really buying MSTR versus buying Bitcoins, they were getting bigger returns. But when you can clearly see when we zoom in on this, Bitcoin pops, MSTR pops, Bitcoin pops, MSTR pops, Bitcoin pops, MSTR pops. Say it with me. Bitcoin pops, MSTR pops. All right, and I'm sure coin does too. And so again, that's what you're getting here. So you need a pop. And if you want to, you can draw your trend line here. I don't think I'd be shocked if this trend line ever broke or came up and broke it. But maybe it can come up and touch it. Right, that would be a nice target I would put on there if you did get a pop up, because every time it pops up, it's for less and less and less. Right, and so again, one thing like the members and I were talking about, what's making this cycle so hard and why alts are getting just crushed into dust. One, because obviously you had the president launch a meme coin, his wife launched a meme coin, and it's these freaking meme coins. I mean, they're launching, I'm talking about, I read like hundreds of thousands of coins like every month or two. You didn't have that in any of the cycle, so the liquidity isn't there. I mean, you've seen the market. Go back and look when Trump launched his coin, his wife launched his coin. That literally was the top at that point in time. I mean, altcoins for sure. Just after that, have just bled to death, hadn't they? They're just a mess. And so this one, there's just not enough liquidity out there in the market to support all this stuff. And so again, I think I said it months ago. I said this is the weirdest cycle because like money's just sloshing from one coin to the other. That's all it's doing. And this whole, are we going to have a big altcoin season? If I have to hear one more time about Ethereum pumping, come on, really? I mean, everybody keeps saying it, but it just doesn't happen. And you see this institution's buying a ton of Ethereum, this institution, well, that's great. The price ain't moving, it ain't doing nothing. And so, I don't know what hopefully maybe they'll regulate and say somehow you can't be, because like you can't, anybody can bring out a coin. You can't do that in the stock market. Not anybody can just launch a stock, right, a company. Okay, and then say, I'm going to bring it public. No, it's not how it works. But these coins, they're just so easily put out there now. Seriously, your gardener could do it if anybody can do it. And it's just draining the liquidity like crazy, man. And when I'll tell you what, it's a messed up cycle when you see the so-called gurus of crypto, they're all confused, man. Like everything they've been saying in the last 3 months has been a mess. That's just the truth, And what they've been saying since then, if you don't think having a pro-crypto president's good, blah, 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 you're a dummy for selling. Well, who's a dummy now, right? And one thing people better learn, if anything, crypto does not care who the president is and whether or not they're pro or against it. Because guess what? All the other administrations were against it. Last time I looked, had some pretty dang good gains. Right? I even saw a meme the other day saying, bring back Sleepy Joe, because their portfolio was looking way better under him. When an anti-crypto guy, right? Anti-crypto guy, right? And that's a joke, but it was a meme, but it was funny. And it's like, yeah, I'm sure a lot of people are looking at their portfolios thinking that. And so again, I hope we have a big altcoin season. Maybe people are predicting this to be longer. Some people are saying it's going to top out in July. Some people are saying it's going all the way to 2026. Guess what? Here's what the truth is. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. And so the circle continues, and the same thing for MSTR. All right. Now, the last one here comes Dr. Marcus, and I appreciate this question. It says, father to father, as you're guiding your son throughout life without bullying him into a career, LOL, which industry do you think is most advantageous in the next 10 and 20 years? Funny how AI may have flipped the script, and tradesmen might be a great option. I've been saying for at least 3 years, if anybody listened to me, plumber, electrician, and there was one other on that list I had. One, trade school is cheap compared to a 4-year college. They can start their own business, probably a lot easier, and they make good money. It's not like, I'm sure anybody's had a plumber in their house or an AC person. That's what I was thinking of. These guys, it ain't cheap, right? You seen those bills they give you? Okay. So, they make good money. Trust me on that. And I don't know how AI replaces those three. I really don't. Not over the next 10 and 20 years. So yes, that's a great point. For me though, as a father, what I'm going to try my best is just, I've told him, look, whatever you want to do, you want to be a preacher, you want to be an engineer, a doctor, whatever it is, make sure you love what you do, man. Because if you don't, it's going to be a grind for a long time. I know some people make good money that are miserable. They hate going into their job. They like the paycheck, but they do not like getting up and going into it. And I know some people, they don't make great money at all. They make decent money, but they love their job, man. Love it. It's not even a grind. They love going into work, okay? You know, start your own business. That's what I'll tell them too. Work for yourself. That's another thing I'll tell them. You know, you can do it. But whatever you want to go into, whether it's you're in your own business, whether it's you going out and literally being a trash man, they get great benefits from the government, or going to be a doctor, whatever it is, just please pick something you love. Please pick a job or career you love. And please, whoever your partner is, make sure they are a passion for you, okay? Don't settle for anybody, anything like that. Again, you get those two things right, and life is going to be good, okay? So that's what my main advice will be as a father to him. All right, I'll tell him, look, when you grow up poor like I did, and you're in a small town, and everybody's going to work at the lead plant and dying of cancer 20 to 25 years later, your dream is just not to do that. Your dream is not to be poor and not to have to go work at the lead plant. Nothing wrong with working there. I just knew a lot of people get sick, and I'm like, no, thank you. And I didn't want to be in that small town anymore, so that's why I went in the military. But there is no like, oh, of course I wanted to play football, but it wasn't good enough. But I didn't know what any careers out there were because I'd never been exposed to anything. I'm from a poor family. Literally nobody had been in college. There wasn't even any plumbers or anybody in my family. It was all, they were either truck drivers, worked at the Wiley Sanders lead plant is what it was called, or they just worked at these small little jobs making minimum wage. That was it. That was my exposure. My grandpa, luckily, he was a military guy. And a lot of the family, my dad was military, so that's how I knew about military. That's why I said, I think I'm going to go to the military. That's how they all pay for college. And I'm like, okay, I'll do that, and then decide from there. But when I was picking my career, it was like, which one can I make good money at? And because I'm a hard worker, even though I have no clue what I'm going into here, and I figure I'm a pretty good leader. So, yeah, let me go into management and business management and accounting and this kind of stuff. Numbers, I'm good with numbers. That's what you do when you're poor. For him, he'll be exposed to a lot. He'll have a lot. In the family, we have engineers, we have doctors, we have everything you can imagine. And so he'll be exposed to that. Plus, I'll make sure I introduce him to other people that do other things, right? Like construction superintendents make a lot of money. Go do that if you want to. If you like building stuff, a bunch of engineers in the family, if you like doing that, go do that. They make good money, but just make sure you love it. That's my biggest advice. Make sure you love it. So appreciate that question. I'm interested in hearing from you guys as well. Like, what do you plan on doing to your sons and all that stuff, and kind of advising them. So, all right, what career do you think will still be around in 20 years that AI won't replace that they can, have a good career at? So anyway, hope you guys got something out of it. Again, tomorrow we'll set up for the week right here to be an interesting video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.